You guys have very nice responses.
Well, security and social field work is
That's why, you know,
but then when I double checked
Tell them yet, so my social media has just been,
it's just, I'll call them tomorrow. So I was back, is there anywhere in particular I should contact? I have no contact or conversation.
so I can only see those people share them because I don't have a subscription. So like, I go search, I can't see it, so I need someone to share it.
I got,
And I don't want you to share it because then it's shared.
Where I'm thinking about it, it's just like,
well managed and
that drags people on to do that.
I can't.
well, Steve's supposed to have
suspect
the full list
I just
things.
feel like,
Yeah.
I really hope and I think that the population that thinks like him is small.
I hope, yeah.
Conservative.
There's also responsible.
Yeah.
Fiscal responsibility, but I'm gonna wait to see if Gary tells me this is weird.
Some of the stuff
Campaign
that
thing.
comes like this. From Jack, as he's not so he says about Jack, so it's like, it just shoved them running into me.
Which I will do anyway, but I'll be able to do more.
I mean, maybe I think that when I'm budgeting.
It pushed me over.
But when we got ready to sell,
Some of my coworkers also, like, oh, we're gonna try to find this out. They're all like, they're headquarters now.
Oh, no.
You get beer and make fun of it.
certainly could be looking
You'll
at
hear.
some roles.
Yeah, I'm not working on
I told him I didn't know which. Let's just keep it.
Well, that's good. That's actually better than average.
about
So
6
that's not a bad thing.
Oh, they're gonna,
We're in.
this week, on the, well, community,
That's right, I forgot.
I think there's
Certainly
certainly.
Hartford is mostly just religious shows.
yeah, but I think it's gonna go back
Yeah,
to
we
the
did.
West Bend.
Oh, yeah.
It was been, we could respond to a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, whatever.
Like all of them.
That is,
All the
that might not
stuff.
happen today.
Press.
That's impressive. I mean, that's a lot of ground covered. Yeah. That's good exercise.
Get our choice. Here you go.
See the red light goes on, and when you throw
I'm just laughing. Oh, I looked, yep.
Good evening. I'm Craig Farrell, the Executive Director of the West Bend Area Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to welcome everyone to our forum this evening. As Washington County's largest business organization with over 500 members, our mission is to support, strengthen, and grow our both our community and also our members. This year we're celebrating our 106th anniversary as a chamber. We welcome and encourage local businesses to join our organization so that we can continue to offer programs like tonight's forum. And we ask residents to frequent businesses that are chamber members. I would also like to alert viewers that our chamber is hosting a 2-week tour to Scandinavia starting on October the 3rd. It is open to the public. If anyone would be interested in joining us, please contact me at the chamber. For the past 23 years, the West Bend Chamber has been taking a community leadership role in conducting an unbiased forum. It is intended to provide voters with an opportunity to meet the candidates and to listen to their views, and to give the candidates an opportunity to answer questions of general interest to voters. Our objective is to send informed voters to the polls on April 2nd. The format tonight will be as follows. Each candidate will be offered an opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. They will then be asked questions on topics of general interest. The candidates will have 2 minutes to respond. The participants will respond in alternating order for each question. Our forum will conclude with the candidates giving a 2-minute closing summarization of his or her position and taking the opportunity to comment on things that they had heard through the evening. The Chamber's goal is to provide a professional, courteous, and unbiased environment for the candidates and to share their views with voters. We hope that they will respect the time constraints and yield the floor when directed to do so. We ask our audience to provide courteous welcome to all of the participants for tonight's forum and ask that you refrain from partisan clapping and cheering. Please turn off any cell phones. And just to begin, Debbie or Cheryl, would you just show folks when we get down, you'll see a sign for 1 minute, you'll see another sign for 30 seconds, and then you're going to see a sign to stop. And if you don't stop, I'll come up there. So, okay, and there's a bell. I would like to welcome the 3 candidates that are running for 2 seats on the school board. Christopher Bach, or is that Bach?
Bach.
Bach, thank you. Aaron Dove and Paul Fisher. The opening remarks, Chris, you'll go first.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone for being here this evening. Thank you for taking an interest in local politics and giving some of your time this evening to hear us speak. Really means a lot to us, otherwise we'd be talking to an empty room. My name is Christopher Bach. I am running for school board because my daughters are just entering the school system, and the decisions the school board makes now are going to have ramifications for their entire educational careers. So I have a lot of skin in the game in that regard, and I want to do what's right for them and for the rest of their classmates and hopefully for this community. I grew up in the area. I'm originally from Slinger, lived all over the country, and realized there's no place quite like home. So my family and I moved from Denver back here about 4 years ago. Pretty sure we're the only moving trucks moving this direction. Everybody else seems to be heading out there. But wanted to be here because growing up in this area really meant a lot. The culture here, the people here, the values that we share here meant a lot to my family. And I'm hoping, if elected, that I can help extend and continue that, provide that good stewardship that was shown to me beforehand. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron?
Hi, my name is Erin Dove. I'm a resident of Jackson, lived there for about 17 years. But previous to that, I'm a Bender. I moved with my family to West Bend when I was in kindergarten. I attended Green Tree in Silverbrook and West Bend West, and then went off to Whitewater, so true public school career. I live now in Jackson, as I said, with my husband, and I have 3 daughters. My oldest is Maddie. She's at West Bend West, and I have twins at Badger. They went to Silverbrook previously, and then Jackson previous to that. I'm running for school board. I love education. I loved school when I was there. I'm a big supporter of school. I was very involved at Jackson Elementary, specifically when my girls were there, volunteering in the classroom, planning events, and eventually on the PTO board. And then, quite honestly, 2 of my girls got very ill, and I took a big step back from school and learned to kind of find my voice and be proactive with their education, communicating what I needed from school, what was really important to me for my girls to get the best education as possible.
Thank you. Paul?
Thank you, Craig, and good evening to everyone in the West Bend School District community. My name is Paul Fisher, and I'm excited to be a candidate for school board. I guess I'm the outlaw on the panel this evening, born and raised in Oshkosh, not a native Bender, but my wife is, for whatever that's worth. I'm the child of 2 teachers. My dad taught social studies at the high school level in Oshkosh for 28 years, so I can appreciate what our teachers go through every day. We had many a conversation over the dinner table regarding the challenges in the classroom, and I have a lot of empathy and compassion for the teachers in our community. My motivation for running is the fact that my 3 girls have had a wonderful education experience in this district. My 2 older girls were extremely well prepared for life after high school. Our oldest is in grad school at Concordia University in Mequon. Our middle daughter will be graduating in May from Fox Valley Technical College in Appleton with a culinary arts degree, and our youngest is a junior at East and heading towards elementary education is what she thinks at this point. And I realize that their experience is based on the decisions that boards years and years ago had made to get us to this point. And with things beginning to slow down at home for me, the time has come for me to give back to the community, to pay it forward for the next generation of young families in this district. And I look forward to continuing the stability that's come to the board in the last 12 months for the next 3 years, if that's the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. First question is going to you, Aaron. Some fiscal conservatives have come out against the school referendum. Are you in favor or opposed to it, and why?
I am for the referendum. That's going to be on the same ballot as our names for a variety of reasons. Number one, and I think the community really spoke out about this in the survey that went out, I believe, last spring, the safety issues in both the high school and Jackson, the centralizing the offices, really having a checkpoint for visitors to come in. And because I'm from Jackson, I know the situation with the parking situation and the drop-off and pickup, and that we're located on the biggest intersection there is in Jackson. There's a police officer that is on duty at the school and morning and evening to just kind of make sure safety is happening. That's my lead reason, I guess. Secondly, I know we have aging facilities, both at the high school and in Jackson. I really think that we are probably losing some Jackson kids to other districts because they're judging a book by its cover. I can speak personally that when my daughter was about to enter kindergarten, I open enrolled her at Slinger. I toured parochial schools because I was judging the building by its cover. Eventually, I did schedule a tour at Jackson, and I knew that that is where my kids had to go. The learning and the teachers are amazing there. And I just think that if we have the modern facilities and the safety at Jackson, that we'd really excel.
Thank you. Paul?
Like Aaron, I support the referendum. I consider myself to be a fiscal conservative, but at the same time, I'm a realist, and I'm not afraid to make investments in our community where appropriate. In addition to the issues that Aaron addressed, what concerns me about Jackson Elementary specifically is the safety issues pertaining to the traffic logistics, the drop-off and pickup, the fact that we have kids crossing Jackson Drive, crossing Highway 60. When that school was built, it was out in the country, and the neighborhood has grown up around there since then. The townhomes on Georgetown were not there, even back in 55 when the first major addition went onto the building. And the neighborhood has grown up around that school. It's landlocked, and it just doesn't work for what it was originally intended for. And being a realist, at some point we need to take a look and say, are we throwing good money after bad by investing in that physical plant versus going to a new location where we can get the proper setback from the road, give our kids that safe drop-off location, and set ourselves up for the next 75 years, which is typically the practical life of a physical plant such as a school. On the high school side, again, the high school building is coming up on 50 years of age. The internals are in need of updates and refreshing, just as your hot water heater, your furnace, your air conditioner at home, and just a much bigger ticket, unfortunately.
Thank you. Chris?
I, too, am in favor of the referendum for the same reasons Aaron and Paul have already outlined. I'll go on to say for the high school, we need to invest to keep up with the changing job fields, technology education, just the learning that the school was originally built for isn't the same learning that needs to be done now. We need to equip our teachers with the right resources to do that. And also we need to invest in the school just for the comfort and the other systems in there, the HVAC, roofing. Those things have reached the end of their usable life. We deferred those costs. As taxpayers, we now have to pay the piper, so to speak. We kept our taxes low and deferred that maintenance, and now we need to step up and pay that bill to ensure that we have a good system. And right now, it seems a small ounce of prevention will be worth a larger pound of cure down the road.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Paul. Why do you want to serve on the school board, and what skills, education, and experience make you qualified to serve?
Again, my motivation is to give back to the community. I appreciate what's been done over the years to create the environment for my girls. They've benefited from that, and I look forward to helping perpetuate that for the young families in the community. In terms of the skills, I believe my business background will be of great benefit in terms of budgetary responsibility, profit and loss, accountability, income, sales numbers, expense management, personnel management, and the like. As we've heard many times, there are concerns regarding declining enrollment, and it's always great to staff up when times are good, but you have to be willing to face into some of those harder conversations when things begin to trend down. And we need to take a look at where things are heading, how dramatic is the downward trend, and what adjustments need to be made. But through all of that, we need to act with empathy and compassion, because there are people that are impacted on the other end of those decisions, and we need to respect that and treat them accordingly. So I believe the experience of working in a teaming environment and working with the board and the administration will be an exciting opportunity, and despite some of the hard decisions that will be forthcoming, I look forward to that challenge.
Thank you. Chris?
Once again, running for school board because my daughters will be there, one at Fair Park right now and another entering 4K next year, and I want what's best for them. For skills, my background right now, or my professional career right now, is in disaster management. I work for the American Red Cross. Disclaimer, they don't endorse me, completely non-political. That's the obligatory statement I have to make. But working with the Red Cross, I work with primarily volunteers, and the only reason they stick around is mission and culture. And with schools, I think we need to offer both of those. It is a profession, but also teachers get into it for a reason. We need to remember that, let them focus on the mission of teaching. And also, we need to work on building that culture. The school board and the administration have a large role in creating culture. I think that's what I'm good at. I get people to do my job for free, and I want to be able to get people excited about what they're doing when they are being paid for it, and support them in whatever way I can.
Aaron?
Can you give me the question one more time, please?
Certainly. Why do you want to serve on the school board, and what skills, education, and experience make you qualified to serve?
Okay. I think I just have a passion for education. Like I said earlier, I'm involved in the school system. I have good communication with the teachers and the administration. I do have a business background. I have a finance degree, and I work at Kohl's, which is a large corporation. So I know how to work with people and numbers. I think that's a skill I can transfer to this job. I think probably the biggest thing as far as skills for me is I can be an advocate. I'm also a very good listener and like to hear different points of view and make thoughtful decisions. I think that's important serving on a board with many different opinions coming from the community, from the administration, and fellow board members. So I think that would be a positive for myself.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Chris. What should our district be doing to address the challenges of declining enrollment?
Well, first, as a millennial, I understand that my generation isn't having as many kids. I've got 2, so I'm doing my part. But there are things we can do. I think, one, we should be telling our story more as a district, what all the wonderful opportunities we have, especially at the high school level. The advanced placements courses offered, the teams, athletics, clubs, offer a lot of possibilities that other districts can't offer. I also believe we need to continue to look at why students are leaving, and some of that just might be geography, and there's nothing we can really do about that. You know, if people are closer to Slinger because they live on, closer to Big Cedar and it's just more convenient, that's a hard argument to argue them to stay here. But I think doing a deep dive, if I haven't been privy to any survey results on why people are leaving, but I don't think it's because of the educational value they see in the district.
Erin.
I agree with everything Chris said. I think we need to do a really good job about promoting and communicating the good things that are happening here. I think that's really improved the past couple years. I'm on social media a lot, and I see a lot of great things happening via their Facebook pages or their Twitter accounts. And if there's other ways we can communicate that out to people who maybe aren't on social media, we're doing amazing things in the schools. And in addition to what's happening at the high school with the technical classes and the trades classes and the job apprenticeships, we also should promote our middle level. I don't think there's very many places, especially around here, where 5th graders can take a foreign language or choose choir or band or orchestra, that they're required to do those things for a couple years and really explore if that's an interest to them. I think also with the open enrollment, I'm sure that a large number of those that are going to Slinger are probably coming from the Jackson area. Why are they choosing that? Is it proximity? Is it the building? And maybe that's something that can be addressed with the upcoming referendum.
Thank you. Paul?
Again, very similar perspective to Chris and to Erin. I'm a data-driven individual, so I would like to get inside the numbers to see is the decline due to simply the birth rate trending down, or is it a flight issue, and where are those individuals that are choicing out? Are they north end of town going to Kewaskum? Are they Jackson going to Slinger, and so forth? I believe that with a new facility in Jackson, we will attract some percentage of those students back, but by no means would I argue that that is a reason to do the project. This is not an if you build it, they will come type scenario. But I agree with the marketing. We've got some negative press in the community that seems to have a negative slant towards what's going on at the school. Nancy Kunkler is doing a great job at central office getting some of the messaging out, but Nancy's only one individual. And I'd like to see more messaging coming from the individual schools, to Aaron's point, talking about what's going on at Badger, what's going on at Silverbrook and the elementary schools. We were at the school board meeting last night, had an update on the early learning aspect of our initiatives. So talking about the 4K and the Head Start program, and there's a number of great things happening. We've got a great number of kids involved in the 4K initiative in this district, and I don't know that the public knows about that, and we need to do a better job of getting that word out to, again, attract people in. Thank you.
Okay, I'm actually going to switch a question around here for you, Aaron, because we're on this topic, so this is a good time to just continue to bore down on it. Dissident groups have used social media to paint a negative picture of the school district. This has a corrosive effect on the growth and prosperity of our community. If you are elected, what will you do to try and improve that situation?
I think a lot of the negative comments are coming from just a couple places that have a voice. I think we need to continue kind of what Paul said before, that Nancy's been doing a great job communicating and just keeping that momentum going. I know that the schools, on an individual level, I do get weekly newsletters from Badger and the high school, and I did previous to that at the elementary level. But maybe we need to just be sharing that more. I don't know, I guess I don't know what that looks like beyond what's happening already. I do think we need to really showcase what kids are doing, especially in the technical areas and the career-based learning. I think the community doesn't necessarily know how supported that is by businesses in our community, and that's just another reach that we can have, another connection to really show what our high schoolers are doing. And then great community events that anyone can go to, the musical, the plays. There was a talent show a couple weeks ago, just really putting that word out there, what's happening in the schools.
Paul?
I think we need to acknowledge how we got here. The people that have negative concerns, perception's reality, and to a large extent, what they're feeling is real. We've had a lot of turmoil over the last 10 years or so at the board level, at the administration level, and one of the reasons, again, that I'm running is I appreciate the stability that has come to the administration under Don Kierkegaard's steady hand and the board over the last year. But simply messaging louder on our part than the negative side, in and of itself, I don't believe is enough. We need to acknowledge where there have been mistakes, and we need to learn from those, and we need to do a better job going forwards. I believe, again, in the last year, we've seen some improvements in that regard. And the positive messaging out of the schools will certainly help, but we need to come alongside, and at the end of the day, the naysayers will remain the naysayers. Some of them may change their opinion, hopefully, and others will do what they do. And the rest of us need to carry on doing the best job that we know we can, and hopefully the majority of the people will recognize the good that is happening in the schools every day. Thank you.
Chris?
I agree with both what Aaron and Paul said. I think messaging is important. We were privileged enough to be invited to a candidate informational session put on by the administration and some of the leadership people in the district, and it was really eye-opening for me just entering into the school district how much great work is being done in the system. I think more opportunities to share that story, to share what great work and how well resources are being stewarded and how introspective the teachers are being when it comes to curriculum and staff development, and really how they're trying to improve the school from the inside. It just doesn't get shared, and it was wonderful to hear. I left feeling very encouraged, proud that my kids are in this district, and I wish more people would know that story. It's just so hard to convey that because people don't often want to look at budgets and spreadsheets and feel pride in that, but it's really another part of the great work that this district is doing. And so I think some more opportunities like that to share the good work and to celebrate those little wins in the district are important at all levels, whether it's academic, athletic, career-based. We just need to be able to share that with the community more.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Paul. What school district in southeastern Wisconsin would you like to see West Bend most resemble?
That's a tricky question, Craig. We're a unique community. We've got a very unique high school model. I don't know that there is necessarily a district that I would want to be a copycat of. We hear a lot of good things coming out of Menominee Falls in terms of the, again, culture, to Chris's earlier point. But we are a unique community, West Bend, and I would like to see us be on the leading edge of our model, and I would like to see cohesiveness and togetherness and a positive teaming mindset, recognizing that not everybody's always going to agree on 100% of the issues, but at the end of the day, we're all focused on growing students and positive outcomes of having them ready for that next stage of their life, whether that's secondary education, whether that's the workforce, whether that's the military, and the details of how we wander and meander from here to there. We can agree to disagree, but stay focused on the goal.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's important that we just try to be who this community is. We can't transplant another model onto us. We're not the same demographics. It's not the same community. I don't think we should try to emulate anyone. I think we need to continue to build up who we are internally. I think when you drop a hard system over an organization, it doesn't often work. I think the work that's being done in the district now under the leadership of the school board and the new administration, I think it's in a positive direction. And I think we should just let them continue to go that route.
Erin?
I'm going to echo what both of them said. West Bend is unique. We have our own values here. It's our own community. It's hard to compare other districts when you're not comparing apple to apples. Everyone brings up Slinger. Slinger's a smaller district. They have different programming. So the population and just the demographics and the values that come from that community make it unique, and West Bend is one of those. We have a large district, so we have the ability to offer a lot of different types of programming, whether it's career-ready programming or college-bound programming. We have a large number of AP classes and opportunities for kids to do trade work in high school. I think that is something that not every district can offer. I think our goal should just be to better ourselves and really put our students in the best place possible for whatever they choose to do post-high school.
Thank you. Question number 6. Chris, it's yours. Are you in agreement with the current school curriculum, or should there be changes, and if so, what would you change?
Once again, so I'm just getting started in the little bit I know of the school curriculum. I'm very encouraged by. I know there was talk of needing to improve our literacy program. Literacy's down across the country, down across the state. So anything we can do to boost literacy from 4K up through high school, I'm all behind. I think literacy goes to thinking, and thinking is what we're really going for. Rote knowledge is great, but it doesn't help you in a job or career, but critical thinking skills are always of value.
Erin?
I'm sure there's places in our curriculum that could use improvement, as I'm sure that any district can say that. There's nothing specific about curriculum that I like or don't like. I think we really just have to trust our teachers, our administration, to make those decisions. I did not go to school for education. I don't think I'm the best person to make that choice. I feel like if the Wisconsin Department of Instruction is recommending something, our administration embraces it. And really, since attending the meetings, I've realized that they put a committee of teachers involved in testing out curriculum and really seeing if that's something that they think will work for West Bend, knowing that we're our own unique community. So I think we have to trust that between the instruction from the state, the administration, and the teachers, that we're making the best choices for our kids.
Thank you. Paul?
Admittedly, my experience with the curriculum is, I'll say, somewhat limited based on what my girls have experienced. We've had no concerns with that. And echoing Aaron's comments, as a manager, I bring in subordinates to do certain tasks, and I delegate and I empower them. And I am not the best resource to select curriculum. We have a committee of trained professionals to do that. Understand that the board has the responsibility to review and make final approvals on that. But I don't believe the board should be in the throes of actually driving the selection of what curriculum makes the most sense. So at this point in time, I have no issues with the curriculums that have been selected, but I'm always open to hearing what the concerns are, what the options are, and weighing the pros and cons, and then making an appropriate decision based on the recommendation that would come from the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Aaron. It has been suggested in the campaign that school board needs to stress accountability. Accountability can only be judged against the performance of individuals in their jobs. Who do you see as being individually accountable to the school board, and how do you propose to measure their performance?
I believe the only person directly accountable to the school board is the superintendent. And the current superintendent is fairly new in role. I've had a little bit of interaction with him along this path of running for school board, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job. He's been thrown into maybe a little bit of a unstable situation, and with this upcoming referendum, he's been having to work extra hard. I think some measures that the board would use to see what his performance is a balanced budget, perhaps seeing numbers on declining enrollment or open enrollment, are those decreasing on his watch, and maybe some retention or turnover numbers of the staff. I think we have to trust that the administration is really working hard at educating our kids, and I think the supers are only direct person that we're accountable for.
Paul?
Like Aaron, I agree that the sole employee that the board oversees is the superintendent in their responsibility of leading the district. And again, like Aaron, I empathize with what Superintendent Kierkegaard has stepped into. Things have been a bit topsy-turvy for the last 6 to 10 years, and it's not an easy thing to step in and begin to reestablish stability and work on that trust factor with the staff. Unfortunately, from a performance perspective, there are some things that you can measure inside of a 12-month window, and there's others that are going to be more in that 24 to maybe even 48 months. I agree with Aaron's comment about retention, specifically at the administration level. We've seen a revolving door at that level because of the revolving door at the superintendent position. So over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, what stability comes to that? We've got some great new resources coming in. Andy Sarno, as Director of Finance, has done a phenomenal job in very short order. Watching him present the preliminary budget information last night. Lenny Hansen, coming up from Jackson Elementary as the new Director of HR, is a great addition. So that's a nice first step. Let's see how it continues. And in the meantime, let's work on improving the culture and the retention rate down at the school level. And again, the balanced budget, and let's try to do everything we can to keep that mill rate within reason to where we are today. Thank you.
Chris?
I think it's important to remember that you always delegate authority and never responsibility. So the school board's ultimately responsible for the district. You guys, as the voters, get to choose. So it ultimately falls to us. We have that responsibility that you're giving us for the school district. To echo their points, yes, you can measure some things. Test scores tell some part of the story, but it's not the whole story. More importantly, I think, is the culture and trend. And are we retaining teachers? Are we retaining good teachers? Are we improving teachers? Are people excited about the district? And is the community excited about the district? Those aren't really quite measurable, but they're more important to me than a test score result for the superintendent's job status.
Thank you. Paul, next question goes to you. Describe your understanding of the school board and administration's current thinking on preparing high school students for college, technical training, or workforce training.
So I believe we've got a good handle on preparing high school students for what comes next. My girls have taken heavy advantage of the AP programs. They aren't as much in the CTE side, but having taken the tour as part of the referendum tour at the high school a couple of weeks ago, getting down into the CTE area and seeing the capabilities that are afforded to the students, that's something that really connected for me, because I was one of those who enjoyed the theory of the classroom, but when I was in the workplace, both in high school and in college, the theory immediately transferred through my fingertips and became reality. And I'm excited for the students to have that capability. I was talking with a friend of mine in the construction trades a couple weeks ago, and talking about how it's difficult to find an experienced framing carpenter these days. And if we have students where that skill set, that desire has been identified in high school, all the better. Let's pour gas on that interest, and let's get it going and get them into the workforce. Not every student needs to go to a four-year college. I had a teacher my senior year of high school telling me that, and I kind of took offense to it. But in hindsight now, I see the wisdom of what he was sharing, and I'm excited that we're giving our students those options.
Thank you. Chris?
I too am very encouraged that it's just not college as the endpoint. I was pleased to hear that there's even a celebration for those deciding to join the armed services and pursue all different careers. I think celebrating each student's decision on what they want to do with the rest of their life is the correct thing to do, and the district has the responsibility to open as many doors to them for their future endeavor, whether that's exposure to the trades, any type of STEM career, engineering, CNC type work. Those skills are going to be in high demand. HVAC systems will always have to be repaired. Plumbing will always have to be done. And it's an appropriate step to make sure that students are exposed to that and celebrated if they choose to go down that path.
Okay, thank you. Erin?
I don't have much to add. I think they covered that really well. I think our high school does a great job preparing students for whatever path they choose. When I did the tour of the tech rooms with the referendum presentation, I went to high school there. I have a daughter at high school there. I had never been back there. I was taking AP classes in high school and was on the college path. But I think there's a renewed focus now on the trades, and that you can make a great living using your hands, and to start those skills in high school is an amazing opportunity that we have for our students here. I think also with that, our local businesses are really involved in the technology part of the classrooms. I learned on the tour that they donate large pieces of equipment that there isn't room for anymore, but just to have that connection with local businesses, it really gives those students an opportunity to already kind of have a foot in the door if they choose not to go on the college path. I think our district and our high school is doing an amazing job preparing our students for the future.
Thank you. Next question goes to you, Chris. What is the most critical issue facing the school board, and how are you the most qualified to tackle this issue?
I think the most critical issue is just stability. There's been a lot of culture change and turnover. My background is in disaster, and things are messy and chaotic, and my job is to get it back to like or better than it was before, if possible. So I think establishing culture is the primary job of the school board, and it's a tough task, and I think I'm uniquely suited to do it.
Thank you. Aaron?
I think with the stability of the administration, I think that is key, and that is going to lead into many of the other things that are affecting the district, like the communication issue we've brought up and promoting our district. I think if the administration has that stability, it's easier to show what we can do here. Can you give me the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
How are you the most qualified to tackle the issue?
So, as I said in my opening remarks, I think I'm a really great listener and absorber of information, and I think I can really take other different points of view to help make decisions that maybe can just lead to greater stability in the district.
Thank you. Paul?
Similarly, stability, decision-making at the board level, especially if this referendum does not pass, there are going to be some very difficult decisions that need to be made. And I believe I am similarly minded with the board. That doesn't mean that I'm a rubber stamp for the rest of the decisions and the votes that are made on the board today. But I believe we can agree to disagree and hash through the details. My qualification, again, being a kind of a data nut, getting inside the numbers, being able to kind of strip away some of the emotion and look at the facts, and then think outside the box and be rational in the approach in terms of agreeing to disagree. We will have plenty of battles that we need to make choices on as to whether, this is something we're going to go address or not. And we need to be wise with our time in investing which things we're going to go after. Back to the point on the curriculum, let's empower the curriculum committee to do what they are trained to do, and we will go on about managing the business aspects of the district.
Thank you. Aaron, what do you see as the role of a school board member?
I think first and foremost, our role is to work for the education of our kids, and that is a balancing act. So maybe we're a juggler. Maybe that's our role. We have to do what's right for the students, but the teachers as well. And then we have the community and the voters who have their say too. So I think we need to take multiple different opinions into consideration to make the education the best for our kids.
Paul?
Great question. And actually, as I was considering running back in December, I kind of asked myself, what is the role? If you're running for city, you've got your district. If you're doing this, you're at large and you represent, everybody in the community. You're one of X number of voices. So like Aaron, we've got a lot of constituencies to serve. We've got the students, we've got the staff, we've got the taxpayers in the community. And our job is to make the decisions that are in the best interests and juggle those balls as best we can and make ourselves available to the community. I've had my campaign Facebook page up since December when I filed. And there's been some feedback trickling in and some good comments. And I don't want to hear just the thoughts that align with where I'm at, because that doesn't do anybody any good. It's when we begin to rub up against the differing opinions that the critical thinking starts to enter into the picture. And that's where the good ideas really come from.
Chris?
I think the school board is here to be the advocate for the district. It means finding what resources are available, bringing everyone to the table to talk through what we're going to do with them, whether that's in regards to curriculum or finances. The school board is there to get the right people in the right places to make a decision in the best interest of all. They ultimately have that say when it comes to a lot of what goes on as a school board member, but their job is to kind of be the expert when it comes to all things school related, and really try to get the most out of the limited resources that we have.
Okay. The next question goes to you, Paul. What do you see as the role of the school district relative to the economic growth and vitality of the greater West Bend area, and what specific efforts will you make to achieve that role if elected?
So the district definitely plays a role in the growth of our community. As people are looking to move here, they certainly want to, if they have a family or are planning to have a family, they want to move to a community that is going to do a commendable job of educating their children. So I think it behooves us to sit down with city leadership, Mayor Sadonico and his staff, to look at the direction of the city from a business perspective. What's being planned? Where do they see the growth going? And what areas of need have been identified within the district that the board can then wheel towards and address, so that both parties, both entities see continued growth, because people don't want to move somewhere and then find out that this isn't going to work and then pick up and move again, or as perhaps we've seen, open and roll elsewhere. We'd like to keep those families here. We've got a lot of good stuff happening. Help us identify where the gaps are. We'll go close those.
Chris?
Schools are one of the crown jewels in any community, the points of pride, and I think that's the responsibility we have for the economic vitality of the town. We need to have good schools because it reflects on the rest of the community. It shows where things we value. We value the future. We value our children, and we are willing to make a bit of a sacrifice on our end to make sure we can invest in the community. School also has the responsibility to educate well and produce good citizens back into the community.
Okay. Aaron, you get the last on that one.
A healthy school district encourages business to either stay here, come here, or expand. And when you have good schools, the employees that work in those businesses want to come here too. So it's kind of a cycle, I think. Good schools equals good business, and vice versa. It helps, as a taxpayer, it helps my property values if I have a good school close by. And it puts money in our local economy because I'm shopping here and eating here. So if we're just talking dollars and cents, it's a smart choice to have a good school system. I think we have great relationships between local businesses and the schools. Students are going to businesses and working half days there when they get to a certain point in high school. And that is, I guess, the circle again. If we're educating our students well, they stay here and work for companies around here. Schools are an asset to our community. They're an investment in our future.
Thank you. Very last question coming to you, Chris. There are voices in the community that support alternative or religious teaching philosophies when it comes to science. What is your position on this?
So I actually went to seminary. I attended Denver Seminary for my Master of Divinity. In my opinion, those are two non-overlapping magisterium, as it's called. One doesn't have necessarily everything to do with the other. I'm a firm believer in separation of church and state. I don't think we should be funding religious education in a public school. I don't think we should be limiting students from having a voice in expressing their religious beliefs either in the school. that being said, I think we need to look at what majority of scientists or professionals have agreed and teach that curriculum.
Aaron?
I agree with Chris. We have separation of church and state. That's gone back since the establishment of our country. It's why people moved here to begin with, why immigrants came here. I think if you have alternate views, that is something that you can teach at home. I think we have to depend on what the scientists say and what's being taught in the country as far as how our students are learning. I think one of the great things about public schools, and one of the reasons why I chose a public school, is so that my kids can see diversity. They can go to school with people of different religions, and that's okay. That's how it is in the world. So to have that exposure, I think is great, and I think we have to trust our educators and our scientists on that curriculum choice.
Paul?
I appreciate the motivation behind the conversations that we've had on this topic over the last 6 to 12 months or maybe even longer. I've not talked with those individuals, but I can appreciate the faith perspective that's behind their desire. I believe I share that faith perspective, but like Chris and Aaron, I also recognize that the U.S. Supreme Court has time and again weighed in on this particular issue, and as much as I might personally appreciate the idea of bringing an alternative view, a creationist view into the public classroom, by virtue of it being a public classroom, we open Pandora's box, and we would then need to address myriad other alternatives, and frankly we don't have time to get into all that other stuff, and these are conversations that we can have at home. Parents need to be engaged in the lives of their children and have these conversations over the dinner table. And what did you learn today, and how do you feel about that, and do you agree, do you disagree, and why do you feel that way? And that is a great opportunity for bonding between parent and child, and it's not a place for the public school to enter into. I again agree with their individual desires, but I don't believe this is the venue to have those conversations.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes all of the questions. We now are going to closing remarks, and Aaron, you go first.
Okay. First of all, thank you. Thank you to the Chamber and the people here today, and the TV station. Thank you to the voters and taxpayers and community who are really being involved in the school board discussion. I think we have, as a school board, a lot of big things on our plate right now. We have the facilities improvements, and if that referendum doesn't pass, there's going to be a lot of work for the school board in regards to that. I think we have a little more work to do on communicating and promoting what's really great happening in our district, and that we really need to showcase how we're preparing our students for post-high school life. I think as far as my role here, I think I've said before that I think I'd be a great fit here. I can really absorb what people are talking about. I can advocate for our students and our teachers and our community. I'm really excited about the direction our school district is going, and I'd love to be a part of that.
Paul?
Likewise. And if you haven't deduced by this point, I believe the three of us share very similar motivations and desires for the direction of the district. So you've got maybe an easy choice, maybe a difficult choice, I'm not sure. But again, I appreciate how we've gotten here from the boards of years past and administrations of years past. And I look forward to having an opportunity to invest the next 3 years of my life continuing that legacy of rational, critical thinking and doing what's best for the young families in our community. Thank you.
And the very last word, Chris.
once again, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening. And as you head to the polls, please thoughtfully consider our answers today. As Paul said, we're all pretty closely aligned in our thinking. There are differences. Feel free to reach out to any of us. I'm going to speak for you guys. We'd love to engage with members of the community, have that exchange of ideas. For me, the one thing I really wanted to advocate for if elected would be to make sure that our teachers don't get stuck being compared to metrics or things you can chart. There's both an art and a science to teaching, and I think in many businesses, nonprofit organizations, and education, the pendulum's swinging a little too far towards being measured by metrics and data and not enough towards their profession and their art and letting teachers do what they were educated and trained to do. I am hoping we can continue to do the good work, the two of us elected, of stewarding the finances appropriately in this district. And I want to thank the boards and the administrations before us that have left us in a good state. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you. I am very impressed by the qualifications and the thoughtfulness of all three of the candidates. The only sad thing is that only two of you will actually be elected. But I would hope that the third candidate will run again perhaps next year. We need capable people such as yourselves on it. I would also like to mention the fact that with regard to the referendum, the West Bend Area Chamber of Commerce has come out in favor of the referendum, and we would ask all of the voters in our area to vote yes for that. With that, I have an announcement I would like to make, and then I'm going to say goodbye to the candidates. We are having something unusual happen for the second part of our Common Council District 2 discussion. In all the years that we have had this forum, we have never had a candidate who has refused to participate. We were informed this morning and given no apology or explanation. I'm personally shocked by the lack of respect to our organization. Given that situation, Mark Allen, candidate for District 2, has agreed to participate in a shortened format. We will now take a brief recess while the candidate takes his seats. Thank you to all three of the candidates. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. You're all great candidates. Thank you. and have him make his opening remarks.
Yeah, hi, my name is Mark Allen. First, I'd like to thank the West Bend Chamber for hosting this candidate forum. I'd like to thank the audience in attendance and the studio audience at home. My professional career began with service. I spent 12 and a half years in the Coast Guard, rising from junior enlisted through commissioned officer. I then chose a different direction professionally to stay involved with computer systems and computer engineering, and spent the next 30 plus years working for a number of different organizations. I'm at the point in my professional career where I can look to give back and provide service, and that's why I'm running for 2nd District Alderman in West Bend.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready for the first question. As I had mentioned to the audience that this will be somewhat more abbreviated since there is only one candidate for District 2. First question, in recent months, the Common Council has had a hot debate over chickens that ended in a 4-4 tie with the mayor making the deciding vote. What is your position on this subject and why?
I think it was a tempest in a teapot at best. I think the people that wanted it, for the most part, were probably disingenuous. But by the same token, I felt that some of the arguments in favor of allowing chickens, against the argument in favor of allowing chicken from the council members was also disingenuous. I heard 3 different council members state that no one could love a chicken, and I can categorically say a previous manager of mine had 9 pet chickens, and she loved every one of them. She took a week off when one of them died. So.
Okay. Next question. The total debt in the city of West Bend is $47 million. Please explain how you would balance the demands from constituents for improved city roads, the Riverwalk, and park projects against additional future borrowing.
Well, one thing in my campaigning so far, I've been going door to door. I plan to hit every door in my district. And one of the primary concerns that I get at every place where someone has had a concern is potholes. The roads are terrible. And so I was asked, how would you address that? Well, I would create a zero tolerance policy. In other words, stop new construction. In other words, don't build a new road or improve, resurface an entire road that doesn't really need it until 90% or more of the existing potholes have been addressed. It doesn't take much to patch a pothole, and quite frankly, there's at least one corporate entity, Domino's Pizza, that has paving for pizza, where they will, come in and partner with municipalities to fix potholes.
Okay. Next question. The city has some challenges with current vacant commercial properties, the Boston Store and Pier 1, and future vacant commercial properties, Shopko and Fleet Farm. What ideas or solutions would you bring to the table to counter these challenges?
I think there's some potential to use the spaces in a repurposed manner, as youth centers or some type of a shelter. There are certainly other uses for the space. They may be in excess of what one business would need. In other words, maybe partition them off or take one and create a business incubator where somebody can start up a business by sharing some of the overhead of business startup.
Okay. Next question. District 2 includes the downtown, the Bid, and the Riverwalk. Please explain your overall thoughts on how this area, both currently and in your vision for the future, what will it be?
The downtown area is attractive, but it seems to appeal as a boutique type shopping, and yet traffic, getting traffic in and out of the central business district and then parking once you reach the central business district is really horrible. There needs to be better signage to direct people there, to move them toward the parking lots. The signage in the parking lots is confusing. It says, permit parking in this parking lot. How do I get a permit? It's not conducive to people dropping by. We have at least one business that obviously draws from a fairly wide area, Hussars, and they advertise all over southeastern Wisconsin and down into even the northern Illinois area, and they attract people to come into downtown. But it's not an easy trek to find downtown. The signage to get you there isn't very good.
Okay, Mark, would you like to have a closing statement? Since this is a little bit of a shorter session, would love to have your closing thoughts.
Yeah, I look forward to serving the community. As I said earlier, I'm effectively bookending my professional life with service, first with the Coast Guard, and hopefully now as a representative of the 2nd District in West Bend. I am a good listener. I'm always open to hearing from anyone who has a concern or an issue. And I also like solving problems. That's pretty much what I've done for my entire business career, is solve problems and bring them on.
Thank you. Wish you great luck in this election coming up. This is going to conclude our forum, and I'd like to thank Tom Stoff of West Bend Community Television and the City of West Bend for their assistance in making this event possible. I would like to thank our candidates for participating in the forum, commend them for their desire to serve our community, and wish them well in the upcoming election. A special thanks to members of my staff, Debbie Santapalo and Cheryl Planke, for being our timekeepers this evening. I would also like to ask viewers to support our chamber members and to shop locally. And finally, a reminder that election is on April 2nd. It's just 2 weeks from today. Folks often stop in the chamber office and complain about the school district or about the city, but when asked, they admit that they didn't vote. Voting is both a privilege and an important responsibility. Please go out and vote on April the 2nd. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Nice job.